Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Tuesday, December 2nd. It's our second day of December's theme, which is trust. Here's our working definition of trust. Once again, trust is the willingness to lean into uncertainty with openness instead of control. The willingness, not the reluctance to, but the willingness to lean into uncertainty with openness instead of control.
At the end of yesterday's podcast, I mentioned that we could also think of trust as the decision to align with love, openness, and inner steadiness instead of the fear and the control that we talked about yesterday. What came to mind for both of us yesterday after we made the podcast was we were thinking about how does fear show up in our lives? What does the voice of fear sound like to each of us? Because it could be the same, but I also think it's probably different. So Ada, let's share what we talked about after the podcast. What does fear sound like to you? Like, what's the voice of fear? Unless we understand what the voice of fear sounds like, we may not even know that's a voice of fear. I'm going to share. My voice for fear sounds like self-doubt. Now, I never thought of self-doubt being fear. I thought self-doubt was more of a help in my life. Well, do I really want to do this? Can I really do this?
Can you give us some examples? What does self-doubt sound like to you?
Well, I would even say when we started working together, I wanted to be a personal development coach, but who do you know that's a personal development coach? Like, I didn't even know one. I didn't know if I could do that. I knew there was something inside of me that wanted to share and support and love and encourage others. But could I really do something that I didn't have a model for, that I didn't know anyone else who was even doing that? The coaches that I was familiar with and that I'd even studied under, they were spiritual coaches, or they were communication coaches, or they were psychologists that decided to be some sort of a coach, but they were bringing all of their psychology into it. I didn't know of a personal development coach. So that voice inside of me that said, can you really do that? I, in the past, would have thought of that was, well, that's kind of helping me to make sure that I know what I'm doing. But now I recognize that same voice is the voice for fear, and it's the voice that keeps me stuck, even in other types of situations. That's what I'm talking about when I'm thinking about the voice for fear in my mind will always be self-doubt, and it will also be, oh my goodness, if I don't watch out, the sky's going to fall. That sort of thing. And how that could play out is, oh my goodness, if I get another dog and something would happen to them, I couldn't take it because I already lost Greta. Oh, I shouldn't get another dog. I probably never will get another dog. And then I'm stuck, even though that would prevent me from maybe doing something that I would really like to do. So I go to catastrophizing, I guess, in a way. That's the voice for fear for me. How does the voice for fear show up for you?
Other people are going to think you're stupid. That's the
You
main
said that.
one.
Yeah, you know, yesterday in yesterday's podcast, I was listening to it back, and you said something about being dumb and, oh, I'm going to be stupid. And I thought, that's something that she really identifies with. So that's
That was
right, huh?
serious. Yeah, I wasn't just saying that as a off the top of my head example. That was real world experience that I fear, that I'm scared of. And I remember way, way, way back in the day where I would be so scared to ask someone for help in a grocery store. Like, I
Oh,
wouldn't even ask, well, where's the cream of mushroom soup? Like, I would just, like, the little things I'd be so scared to ask because
how old were you?
oh,
35? No, really. How old were you?
oh, late 20s. Yeah.
Late
Late
20s.
20s. And I forced myself to just start asking.
Because you thought that they would think that you're stupid?
Yeah. Like, don't you know where the
Soups are?
soups are? Don't you know where the pasta is? Don't you know where the salsa is? Like, that's how I thought they would respond or react. Never happened. Not even once. But that was my fear.
Well, this is an important discussion, and I want us all to think about this because I've been thinking about this since yesterday's podcast. When that voice for fear is speaking loudly, it can cause us to not only be stuck, but remain stuck, for one.
So true. I must have a core wound of embarrassment somewhere
You
that
must.
I can't remember because that's the fear that they're going to think I'm stupid and I'm going to be embarrassed.
And the voice for fear also causes us to withdraw.
And then that's what I would do. I would just go in. I wouldn't ask for help. And if I couldn't find it, well, I guess I couldn't find it. And so I would just pull away. Oh, man. Speaks to my soul.
Okay, so when we're thinking about trusting, and trust is a decision to align with love, openness, and inner steadiness instead of fear and control. How we would align with love, openness, and inner steadiness is to recognize that fear, that voice for fear, without identifying with it, which is what sounds like you've done, sounds like what I've done.
I think we do that by default unless we know and are intentional about it.
Unless we even understand what this voice for fear sounds like.
Because to me, I was just saving myself from shame. You were saving yourself from making a mistake, and that would cause you pain.
And yet, what would my life be if I didn't let go of the fear and say, well, I'm going to give it a try? And I'm going to ask Ada if she wants to join me. You know, maybe me asking you to join me was also a little bit out of fear.
Really?
Well, because, oh gosh, could I do this by myself? Oh, Ada has a degree in sociology. Ada, I would love to work with Ada. I'm going to ask Ada if she would like to do this with me. That was probably a little bit of fear, but I'm so glad I did it.
They all worked out. I never would have thought that that would be fear. And I think that's our thesis statement for today, our main idea, because we may not recognize offhand right away what fear sounds like in our minds. It sounds like, well, I don't want to be embarrassed, or I
Don't want to make a mistake.
don't want to make
at this
a
stage of my
mistake.
life.
I want other people to love me. I want to do the right thing. Oh, you would not believe, y'all, how many times Annette and I, when we're making a decision, and we both have this thing in us, well, we want to be good people. We want to do the right thing. And then we're saying, well, okay, well, is it right for us? Is it good for us to allow people to treat us poorly? Well, but we want to do the right thing. And so that can be the voice for fear where we can allow people to misbehave and mistreat us. And then we go along to get along and we just let it go because we're wanting to be good people.
Well, and to be
And that's
clear,
the voice of fear.
that's just an example. We do that all day, every day. Like we will bounce something off of one another. Like, what we have really been saying, Ada, we didn't have this verbiage, but what we've been really saying is this fear or is this love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of us will want to do something, or one of us will have something that's going on in our lives, and we'll say, well, this is how I really wanted to handle it, but is that kind and loving? And we'll talk about it. But really what we're saying is this my fear talking or is this my love talking? And we have had people say to us, well, my fear kept me safe. But no, actually, love keeps you safe. Fear keeps you stuck. We have to learn to distinguish between those two voices.
We do, because when we're in fear, we cannot trust.
And when we're in fear, we can't also be in love. We can't be in fear and love all at the same time.
No, we can't. To help us out today, we have a lot of reflection questions prepared for this month because we want to get used to and to be able to recognize just what our reflection question for today is. What does fear sound like in my mind? What does fear sound like in my mind? Because if we don't know, we end up being controlled by our fear. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.